Hello and welcome to the Best on the Rock podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Best, and welcoming for my very first episode, the premiere episode, I would like to welcome my guest, the very special Rick the Temp Campanelli.
Oh, well, thank you so much. The very special. My pleasure to be here with you this morning or this afternoon or whatever time this is airing.
Yes, whatever.
But
We might be an evening for somebody. We might be a drive
yeah,
to work
yeah,
for somebody.
that's right, Mel.
The
And you
beauty of
you do have the
podcasting.
coolest last name, right? Like we all know that now. Like Best, come on.
It is
Really?
the
Is that your
best. It's
stage
the
name? Come on,
best.
that's your stage name, right?
So the truth is, my husband's last
Okay,
name
here we
is
go.
Best.
Right.
But I married him for the name, actually. I That's a joke that I have said before because I started real estate with my maiden name. And then when I got married, I changed everything to Best. So other realtors would be like, why did you change everything? I was like, I married my husband for the name. Like I
Yeah.
needed good
Yeah.
exposure, right?
And your husband knows all about this, right? He's cool with
He
it.
knows he's cool. Like he gets it. He gets it. He knows it's all about business now. If we
Yeah.
worked together for like, I think 15 years, I got it. That was one of my lies on our show, actually, was
Oh,
how
was
long I've
it?
been married. And I still can't remember because we've been
Yeah.
together for so long
So
that
long.
I just,
Yeah.
yeah, 15 years, 16, something like that.
That's how it happens
But
on the rock, right? You meet someone, you fall in love, and you're theirs forever. And that's a
yeah.
romantic, beautiful thing. I love that. I love that.
It's pretty well. Yeah, that's how it works. So I'm just gonna get into this. Rick, we met
Yes.
on a
Yes.
show because a lot of my listeners, I mean, I hope that my listeners at this point would be like, oh yeah, I know she was on the Traitors Canada. If they're not watching, they should go watch it immediately. It's so good. But yeah, one thing that I didn't have on my bingo card for the year 2023 was, going on a reality show at all. And
Yeah.
the second thing was that I would be on the reality
Yeah.
show with Rick the Temp from Much Music. So do you want to just talk a little bit about how you
Yeah.
got involved in the Traitors?
Yeah. Well, first of all, like signing up for that experience, none of us really knew what we were getting ourselves into. Sure, we had watched the other franchises from around the world, but I didn't know who the 19 others were going to be. You didn't. All the others didn't. We had no clue what to expect. So that was cool. I liked that about, the fear of the unknown in a way,
Yeah.
getting into it and starting. But I was excited to begin the project. I had always wanted to be on a reality competition show like yourself,
Yeah.
like many of us who were in the manor. I thought I was getting approached to host it, but no. When they approached me, we wanted you to be a contestant. I thought that's cool. I'll be stepping out of my comfort zone in a way because I'm usually on the side where Karen is at, and doing all the hosting. But being a contestant, being a participant was amazing. What an adrenaline rush every minute of every day, because we didn't really know what to expect
It was a
in that
whirlwind.
manner. And
Mhm.
I think you agree, and the rest of the 18 would agree with that.
Yeah, it was just pure madness. Like literally I didn't know what to expect from when I got on the plane. Like I didn't
Yeah,
even know where I
yeah,
was going. Like it was a very
yes,
secretive show. They were like,
it
we don't want
was.
you to be prepared for anything. So just like,
You're
here's your
right.
ticket,
Yeah.
At one point I
You're right,
remember
Mel.
I
I was
said,
gonna I was gonna
yeah.
add to that too. Like landing at the airport, I get my bags. Okay, and then I get a text saying, "Meet your driver outside. His
So
license
creepy,
plate
right?
is his." It's very creepy. It's like, what am I
Yeah.
getting into here? Like this
Yes.
whole secret society? Am I gonna be taken into like a dungeon somewhere and be
Hmm.
held? But and then as we had our phones taken away from us. We were ushered to our rooms on a daily basis, like escorted there, and we weren't
Yep.
allowed to come out, which made sense because the game is, no content could be discussed unless the cameras are rolling and your mics are on. So that all made sense. But it was I'd never been a part of anything like it in my
It was
life.
just absolutely wild. Like I remember
It was
every day
wild.
I was there,
Wild.
if I would feel stressed, I'd be like, okay, stop, take a breath, look around. You're doing
Around.
this.
Yeah.
Remember reality. Cause I think they take your phones so that you can get
Yeah.
more into the game, right? Like
Yeah.
this becomes now your life.
That's
You have
right.
no
That's right.
contact with your family. This is your home now. This is your life.
This is your
So
family now. This is your
yeah,
home.
this is
Yeah.
your family
Yeah.
now. So it really does weigh on you. And it was such a strange thing to go
Oh,
through, but so like
well,
beautiful
Mel,
at the same
Mel,
time.
for you, it was totally different. from me because you were a traitor. And you talk about the stress. Like you did a fantastic job. Let's just get that out there.
Okay, Rick.
And listen,
That's his first lie.
I had no clue. I was on your team most of the time. I was hanging out with you. I liked you. I had no clue though. I didn't see what the others were seeing. Now I saw in some of the others that I assumed were traitors, but I didn't see the traitor traits in you like Kevin was seeing or the others were seeing. I just didn't. And I think that's why Fierce came down on me, because Fierce was saying, as if Melissa B's a traitor, then Rick, you're obviously a traitor because you were standing up for her, and you know how it goes, right? But you did such a good job in my eyes as a traitor. I don't think I could have hit it the way you did. Well, for me, anyway.
You were on my list. Like I thought we got along really well. So I was like, okay, Rick is someone I need to bond with. Like my strategy going in was to bond with people I trusted so that you wouldn't want to send me home. Because I thought if I bonded with people, it would be a lot harder to vote you out, right? Like a lot of this game is connection. So that was one of my biggest strategies, was like go in and connect. So that if I connect, I won't give up. Even if people do think I'm a traitor, maybe they'll want to get a little bit further with me, which did not go my way.
So pause 1 second right there. So let's rewind a bit. So did you consciously then, what you just said, did you consciously try to hang out with those people a bit more to bond with them? And because I remember that one mission when we were stealing all of Karen's masterpieces, I noticed that we were kind of in that same area, rooting for everyone. But I noticed that we were standing beside each other quite a bit. Now, I don't consciously know where I'm in a room. Like I just go in a room and I stand there. But were you kind of trying to make the moves to smooth over or like to make those bonds?
Not in the missions. Not in the missions. No, I think one of my biggest downfalls actually was trying to get to know everybody. So like I knew that we had a connection. So I would, like I just went off that. I didn't talk enough game. I talked more about family. And that's how I thought I was getting my in. Like one of the things that came back, like me and Leroy had discussed since the show, where like I would always talk to him about his family. Because me, you and Leroy, I thought we had a really good connection. We had kids back home and spouses. And it's like a little like connection.
Most definitely.
That was one of the things with you that made you believe that I was a faithful. But the exact same thing made Leroy think I was a traitor, because I wasn't talking game. I was talking family and connection. So it didn't really work out in the end for me. But that was one of my things. But I played the wrong game. Like I think I went in there playing like a Big Brother game and not a Traitors game. You know what I mean? Like,
well, obviously looking back at it now, Mel, you played the wrong game. But in whose eyes? In my eyes, you were playing a great game. We were getting along. And it's funny how it all works because we're all different and we're all perceiving things differently. It was unfortunate how it went down for you, and now the whole country knows. But listen,
I better be watching.
I probably wouldn't have written your name on the slate unless I was, if I wasn't getting talked into it as much by the others, because that's what you have to do in that game. You have to sort of, they listen to you, you listen to them, you make your assumptions and decisions based on that. I totally screwed up that first time around with Colin. So I wasn't going to make that same mistake. So that's when I started listening to the others a bit more. And that's the only reason why I wrote your name down. But it was hard to do.
I love that. I did appreciate it, because one of my biggest regrets was not writing your name down the night that I got banished, because going after Crystal, like watching, everything is in hindsight. So watching everything back, Crystal was the only one I could think of to go after, because she was somebody I trusted who did turn on me very openly, but I also felt like I had enough that I could frame her with. And with you, I didn't feel like I had enough to frame you with. Like Colin was kind of the only thing, and everybody saw that, but I also did, like, I had a good relationship with you, and you are a celebrity, and people tend to feel like they know you a little bit better than the people they just met because they've seen you. So I thought that was like not going to work if I had to try to throw you under the bus. I didn't know that Kuzi was planting the seeds in the background.
No,
so that's my big regret. Like if I had to say your name and leave Crystal out of it, I feel like you would have went home and I would have stayed, and then, I would have gone the next week. But it was it's wild.
for you to watch it all unfold, you must be like blown away. Like you must be watching with your family in St. John's, like with jaw dropped. It's like, what is going on in those confessionals? Because we
It's
didn't
so
talk about
good.
that. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. How are you feeling watching it back?
Oh, I love it. It's they've done it. Entourage did a great job of putting it all together. Listen, they were you were there. They were filming us all day long. That's a
Yeah.
lot of hours to put together. And the episodes are what, 44 minutes tops. They
Hmm.
How do you do that? How do you condense it all down to pick out the interesting parts that are going to stand out and tell that story along the way? So I think they did a fantastic job. You can't put it all in. Like there was a lot of drama in that
Yeah.
house. You can't put it all in. They can't. It would have to be like a 4 hour show per episode. But no, I've been watching it with my family, and even my boys are watching it, and it's great. It's
It's
fantastic.
so
Everyone
good.
looks so good. There's a lot of drama, and it's a fantastic show. And I think you feel the same as me. It
Yeah.
was such an honor to be in that manor for that time there. We were just so excited to be part of something like that.
It was. And the beginning, because I think like I've heard the ratings are pretty
And
good. I
yeah,
think this is gonna go, for a while. I think there's gonna be
oh
a season
yeah,
2 and a 3 and a 4
oh
and a 5.
most definitely,
So
yeah,
we got in on the ground floor.
yeah, yeah. We did, and you were the first traitor to be banished on the
The first
ground
trader
floor.
to be picked too
To be, that's right.
in the
Oh,
edit,
that's right.
right? So yeah, that was a wild moment to watch back. It's been just surreal. Like last night, did
Yeah,
you okay,
yeah.
we'll get into it. Because last night's episode, I ended up on the floor of my living room because I every time something would happen, I would just like sink lower into my chair and just closer to the TV. And by the end of the episode, I was on my rug and my husband was looking at me like, you have a problem. But I
You
was
have a
just
problem. Yeah,
so
yeah.
into the episode. I thought it was such great editing and like that's the stuff we missed.
I know. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen the
Okay, I'll
episode
leave it.
yet. I'll be
I'll leave it.
watching it later today. But you're right. We missed a whole ton because you were gone right away. I was gone
Mhm.
shortly after. But I do know what you're talking about when you get home and your husband's saying, "What's going? You have some issues." But we all needed rehab after that
A
manner
hundred
because that
percent.
manner, it took a toll on all of us. And
Mm-hmm.
watching the show when it first early October, we were out of there. What, late July, early August. I
Yeah.
had a little PTSD watching
Yeah.
those episodes. Like
I
it's
did
like, oh
too.
my gosh, now we got to relive this because it got a little nutty after a
Yeah.
while. I don't know if you've noticed the nuttiness of the manor. Maybe that came a few days after, but I was back in grade 9 again. It's like this group is
Mm-hmm.
talking about me, this group's talking about me, this. Like, what is going on here? Okay, you know what? Even if they all do say my name, I'll be okay leaving because
Yeah.
at this point, I want out. Yeah, I'm gonna
Well,
wave that white flag. But
yeah, and that's something that I was thinking about watching it back because, these are dramatic shows. And I know that there are people who left that manor who
emotion.
still may have a little bit of, headbutting. Maybe some people
May
rub each other the wrong way still,
I like how you use that word, may. Yeah, may.
May some people may not get along, but I've heard that you and May have buried the hatchet. Is that true? You guys are
Oh
good now?
yeah, man! I'm going to be seeing May tomorrow night in Edmonton. I'm hoping that she cooks me some of those famous dumplings of hers.
God.
But you know what? I went to apologize to May right after she cried, but she didn't want to talk to me. You were you still you were still oh you were
I
gone at
was
that point.
gone then. I was so sad
You
when
were,
I was watching TV and you and May were fighting. I was like, why did I get to leave before this? Because this is something that I
that's right.
don't
You could have
love being
used that.
in. Well,
You
I
could
do
have
love
used that.
being in it in the show. Yeah, I could have used it, but mostly I just wanted to be front row seat for the entertainment. Like, this is what I wanted to bring to the show. I wanted to be the
Yes.
drama and be in the drama and watch it unfold because I mean, when else, like in your everyday life, hopefully,
Right.
you don't deal with those situations, right? Like
No,
I like to
no.
put situations like that are just, I push them aside. I don't want to deal with that. But on a show, it's like permission to go back to that, like, I
Well,
don't know,
that's why
juvenile
that
side.
of course, and that's why we say those things we said in the confessionals. And we may stretch the truth a little bit and we may
Hmm.
over dramatize things. You know how it goes with television. You're trying
Yeah.
to sell a show and you want people to watch and you're going to
Hmm.
say ridiculous things. We all did, but we don't mean it's the heat of the moment, it's gameplay. We're all very competitive, but yeah, I wish you could have stuck around a little longer because knowing you would have created a lot of good drama which would make made for even better TV. But that's all I was trying to do with that. Like when you get attacked, you're not just going to sit around. You're going to stand up for yourself and fight back. I didn't even think May was a traitor 100%. I really didn't. But she was just getting on my nerves so much, Mel, that I just wanted her out of the manor. I really did, honestly. So that's why I kept going back. And if it wasn't for that mission where I thought she was trying to sabotage because she didn't want me to get the shield, I would have been in that manner for a few more days, I think. Anyway, it just started spiraling. That whole May and Rick confrontation started spiraling out of control, and it just, A happened, B happened, C happened, D happened, and then the next thing you know, they're all ganging up on me. So it's all good though. No regrets at all.
It happens so quickly too. So,
I
but I do have a bone to pick with you, sir. I'm gonna call you sir now, because that's what I call people when I'm a little annoyed with them. So let's just clear there. We got into a little traitor talk before I got to jump on this. I've got some receipts here, Rick Campanelli. So I brought the receipts. I took some notes of some things that I'm going to question you on now. So since leaving the manor,
you were taking minutes, were you? Okay.
I took a few minutes. You had a beautiful interview with one of my favorite podcasts, which is
I love those guys. I love those guys. Yeah.
With Puya and Scally. So I've interviewed with them as well. I was a little bit nicer, but okay, I'm just gonna go get out here and say it. So they were asking you about how you felt about May. Now you've already said it in this podcast. You said that May was driving you nuts. You wanted her out of the manor. So they asked you that question. You told them that. But you decided to add, let me just, for my audience.
I added something to that. Okay.
You added something to that. So you were talking about May. You said, even if May wasn't a traitor, I wanted her to be banished. So I didn't have to deal with the drama. Fair enough. You got into an argument.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. Yeah. Anyone would say that.
And then for no reason, out of nowhere, when nobody was asking, you also said, I think I said the same thing about Mel early on in the game. It keeps going. I wrote down what you said, sir. So,
Mel,
because she was so talkative. God bless her. She's from St. John's, Newfoundland. It's what they do. They talk, they tell stories. But at the same time, I thought, even if she's not a traitor, can she just be banished because I just can't take it anymore? Rick Campanelli.
Mel,
what do you have to say?
Making me cry over here.
So
I love you. I love you. It was never a feud with you. You know how I just talked about earlier how you overdo things to get a reaction out of people. I didn't mean any of that. You know that, right? Well, I couldn't leave May alone in that pot. I had to talk about somebody else.
Oh, okay.
And you
knew I could handle it. You knew I could handle it.
You would have murdered me eventually. Let's just be honest.
Actually, if you thought for sure that I wasn't a traitor, I probably would have waited right until the end and just.
Yeah, I know you would. I know you would have. I know you. No hard feelings, Mel. Sometimes I say things, but listen, I've been out to St. John's, Newfoundland many times. I know the good people out there, some of the best people in the country, as you know. And you guys are the nicest, most hospitable, and you've got some great stories, and I love listening to you. But in a game situation like that, and I remember I'm going back now. You're bringing me back to anyway. Let's move on to the next question.
Let's deal with it, Rick. Put it on the table.
We're all good. We're all good, right? We're all good.
Well, I don't know. Well, okay, we are. I'm not mad at you. I did get over it that day. I was a little pissed that day. I'm not going to lie.
But I said it with a smile. I said it with a smile. Did I not?
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. All right. No, we are over it, because the truth is I can be a very annoying person. So when I hear things like that, I'm like, yeah, that tracks, like that makes sense.
No, I didn't. I never said annoying. What did your husband say to my words? I don't
want to bring him into it, because he told me I was also over. No, he also said, okay, I think you're overreacting. And I'm like, yeah, we need to start a fight now. You're picking up for Rick. Excuse me. No.
Oh, you're making
down
me cry.
For me, sir.
You're making me cry.
Yeah.
Let's
Good.
move on.
I did get over it. Later that day, I was like, okay, maybe I'm just. But I think what caught me off guard was because we hadn't had that joke between us yet.
Right. Oh,
right. I was like, he never said that to me, right? Like, if Fierce called me annoying, I think I probably would have been like,
Yeah.
But Rick called me knowing I was like, that son of a, like, what?
Mel, you know what?
But we're
Something I
good.
learned about you, you have a tough skin. You
Mhm.
can take the heat. Some people in that manor, they couldn't take the heat. They
Yeah,
broke
that's true.
down. But you're a tough one. So I thought saying that stuff, Mel's gonna be okay with this. She knows
It
I'm
didn't.
joking.
It
We
honestly,
we
it was
I
good. It
I'm
was
gonna buy you
bugged me
some
for a day.
screech. When I get
Mhm.
out there, I'm gonna screech you in all over again.
It's a rite of passage. We get screeched in at birth, right? Like we
I
come,
know.
they
Every
baptize
time,
us with
yeah.
screech.
Every time I come to St. John's, I get screeched in. I've already been screeched in 14 times.
Oh
Let's do it
yeah.
again. Oh
So
yeah,
when are
kiss
you
my arm.
coming
Let's do
back
this.
again? Let's all for all the newfies
Oh well,
listening. When are you
well,
coming
this is
back?
the latest. I just talked to the director of 299 Queen Street West, and there's been a lot of upheaval about the doc not coming out there on the tour, and I think something's trying to get worked out where the doc comes out to St. John's before it starts streaming on Crave. So it's just in
Don't
the
play
early.
with me.
Don't play with. I'll
Because
make it
I
up.
have been on you about this
Uh,
since the
I know.
manor.
I know. I'll make it up to you, and I'll give you 2 free tickets. I'll give you 4 free tickets if it happens. Now, I don't know what's going on. It's not my wheelhouse. I don't deal with the tour and picking the cities, but I knew when I first posted about us crossing the country with this tour and
Mhm.
St. John's, Newfoundland wasn't on that list. I got lambasted. I
Oh
got it. I
yeah.
got it good because St. John's, like we used to come out there all the time with Much Music,
Mhm.
and you'd think if there's a city across Canada where we're gonna tour to, it's got to be St. John's. But
Yeah.
I was surprised, just like you were, and most of the people in St. John's, that city wasn't on the list. So I think Sean, the director, is trying to do something about it now, and
Mhm.
it's still early November. The doc doesn't stream on Crave until December 8th, I believe. So
Okay.
he's got a month to work with. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, well that you're making it up a little bit because that was one of my questions. I wanted to get into that. So
Yeah.
let's ask a couple of trader questions. We'll put that behind us and then I want to talk about,
Yeah.
what you got going on, right? So
Most definitely. Yes.
yeah, the biggest thing was just to get that out of the way. Okay. So my next question, it kind of feeds from that a little bit.
Uh,
Who did you think was the most annoying house guest in the manor?
well,
I'm
that's
just
a
making
that,
it up, like setting you up
that
right
is
now.
a word, like, so for, of course I'm going to say May, right?
Hmm.
Because you weren't coming down on me like May was. You weren't attacking me. You liked me. I liked you. So and I liked May at first, but May came down hard because I was coming down hard on Colin, and she kept calling me the ringleader. I said, May, I
Right.
made a mistake. We have to choose. Excuse me. We have to choose somebody.
Yeah.
And I just thought, Colin, I was observing things about Colin, and I thought, okay, I'm going hard on Colin, and you can join me or not. I'm going to tell you what I've been observing. You can go on your own, or you can, just follow this lead. It's early in the game. When you banish
So
the
early.
first manor guest, you don't know. None of us knew
Mhm.
what was going on. Well, you, Mike, and Kuzi knew, but
We had an
we
idea.
didn't. So I think that started it, and then she just kept on me.
Yeah.
And I remember when it started. You remember the director, David, right?
Hmm.
David. So we're all sitting at the breakfast table that morning, and we're talking. We're talking. I think we're talking too nice, though. I remember David, the director, coming into the room saying, "Guys, can we really talk about how you feel? What's
Yeah.
going on in your mind?" So he was starting to stir the pot because, of course, he wanted the juice. So as soon as he leaves the room, May right away. Okay, Rick. So since you were coming down so hard on Colin, you're the ringleader. So, and that's where it all started going
Yeah.
downhill. And I knew if
Since
I
we're
got
talking
into
about
it,
how we're feeling, this is how I'm feeling.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I remember sitting beside Dom and Kevin. Kevin over here is laughing at the comments that I'm making, but Dom over here is saying, Rick, just be quiet, let it go, let her just go on her off on her tangents, and just keep it shut. But I can't keep it shut. I
No,
can't.
yeah. Well,
If
wasn't he always the guy to try and like calm you down? Like so, and I really hope I get a chance
yeah,
to chat with Dom
yeah,
because
yeah, you
he
will.
really was the guy who wanted I was like, Dom, why did you want this?
Non-confrontational.
He
Yeah.
wanted no drama, no confrontation, and then he would be the one to calm all of us down when we would kind of like get really bent out of shape over things, right?
That
So
doesn't make good TV though, does it?
yeah, right. I
That doesn't
thought he
make
was
good
making
TV.
really funny TV. Dom had me
Yeah,
in the stitches every
yeah.
day.
Oh yeah,
Um,
oh yeah.
so feeding off of that, who was your favorite house guest?
Well, I was making instant bonds with people, like
Hmm.
instant bonds. After we left the round table, that first round table where we all had our masks on, like I was making like a bond with Kevin.
Hmm.
I know you're not a big fan of Kevin, and you're not a big
Me,
fan of
me,
mine anymore.
me. I will say, me and Kevin actually have a really solid relationship. Like,
Yeah, good, good.
well, I don't. Okay, yeah. So we like after the show, we talked right away. Like, I actually sent him a message on Instagram the day I
Yeah,
got home because I was like, I don't have this
yes,
guy's number yet. The show's still filming. He's
yes,
still away. So I sent him a
yes.
DM on Instagram, and I was like, I hope to God, I'm just putting it into the universe that you got recruited after I was gone and that you turn on Kuzi and Mike and win the game. Like that was literally the
You
message
just
I
put that
sent
out
him
there.
because I was like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
because
sweet.
I do like there's
Yeah.
nobody that I actually have bad blood with. And
No,
I
no, it's not
have an
that.
internet feud with Kevin because it's funny.
It's
And
funny.
we were enemies on the show. So I think that's funny to run with. But no, in all
He,
actuality, like we're actually good
he
friends
he had you pegged. He had you pegged right away, and I
immediately.
didn't see it. So going back to your question, Kevin,
Yes, sorry.
just because he is a great player and he's a good person. You saw that in him. Leroy, I really enjoyed hanging out with Leroy. I got to see Leroy a couple weeks ago in Halifax, and went out to dinner with Leroy and his wife, and got to know him a lot better. And he's just salt of the earth, that guy, as you know.
Hmm.
Um,
He
yeah,
was one
I
of my
think I'm gonna
favorites too until he turned on me.
Leroy. Yeah, yeah. I know. I couldn't believe that, Mel.
But you know
I
what?
saw that. I saw that talk that you guys
That was
had
so
one
hard.
on
That
one.
was such an intense talk too. Like that had to be an hour. It felt like every bit of an hour. But when we were talking, I think what it was is like we did have this connection where, like you say, like I thought we were bonded over families, and that's what he found suspicious about me. But at the
Yeah,
same time, like I am very grateful for him because even though he did turn on me and vote me out, and he was, clearly knew I was a traitor, he was the first one to tell me to my face. So he did, in a
yeah.
way, give me
That's
some time to try
yeah.
and do a little bit of damage control. Because that was the thing I was upset most about was that everybody wanted to ambush me at the table. Nobody wanted to tell me during the day, which is the hardest because then you don't really have time to really defend yourself. So
Mel, that's exactly what
yeah.
happened to me. I was in your same shoes a couple
Hmm.
nights after. I was in your exact same shoes. Come talk to me, find out
Yes.
more about me. But I do love that you respect Leroy about what he did there, like coming to you face to face, asking his questions. A lot of the other players didn't do that, and
No.
you were surprised just as much as I was surprised at that round table. Okay, you're all gonna. Well, we didn't talk about this. Like, come, I would have
How
expressed
come
how I
nobody's
was
asked
feeling.
me?
Yeah, no one's asked me. So, and I
Yeah.
feel good. I'm one of those people too. And I like I told you earlier, I just jumped on that bandwagon and
Hmm.
went with the herd there because I wasn't sure that you were a traitor. I didn't think you were a traitor, but the name of the game is to terminate people. Because if you terminate people, you're one step closer to that big jackpot, right? So,
Faithful or traitor, honestly. Like that's if I had to be a faithful, I probably wouldn't have been trying to vote out traitors. Like that was my strategy going in. If I was a
you're
traitor, if I was a
ah
faithful, would be to just vote out people who I knew were faithfuls so that I could
ah
get to the because if
get
you do
closer.
vote out a traitor, they can just recruit another traitor. It's not like there has to be traitors in the end of the game. So
That's right.
my thought
That's
was
right.
like if I
Yeah.
peg them early and don't vote them out, then they're easier to find. But if they recruit somebody, then I
Yeah.
have to look at somebody I thought was a faithful and try to see had they been recruited, which I thought would have been a
Mm.
harder game.
Wow, what a strategy
Um,
that you had there. That's interesting.
yeah. Oh,
That's different. Yeah, it's
I've thought
unique.
it
Yeah,
through. I
yeah,
thought
you
it through
did think it
before I
through.
left.
I hope they give you another chance because I want to see you back on there. A
Same.
redo, a redo.
Yeah, we need something. We need some kind of redemption,
Yeah,
don't
I
we?
know, I
Maybe
know.
it could be traitor teams.
Yeah, yeah. Or traders with our spouses, or
Yes,
what?
that's what
Yeah.
Nazilla keeps
Oh,
saying.
did
I
she?
want to
Yeah,
traitor
yeah.
spouses. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think you've already answered this question, but do you think your accusations towards May sabotaging you helped with your banishment?
Oh, no doubt about it. If I didn't go hard on that sabotage theory, I would have been okay. I really would have.
Mhm.
I'm not that type of guy that just wants to fly under the radar. I want to be vocal and I want to play the game aggressively. And I think I did day one, and I think I did day 3 and 4 with the whole May feud. But I wasn't going to be the guy in the corner just sitting around taking it all in. I wanted to play this game,
Yeah.
since I signed up for it, and you feel the same way. And I think we all, like most of us do, we're in deep now. Let's play this
Mhm.
game. And I was 100% a traitor hunter, and I was searching them out. If May, like I said earlier, like this happened and then that happened and this, and it was just this string of things happening that were the downward spiral. Like if May wasn't the team captain on that mission for our team, and if she didn't try to, like, it looked like an apparent sabotage to me, because she kept going back and forth looking at the puzzle on the sign, coming over to us. This needs to go there. This needs to go there. This needs to go there. And then she comes back, oh no, that doesn't look like it goes there. That shouldn't belong there.
Right.
That's, first of all, confusing. And
Mhm.
second of all, it's playing into my theory that she's sabotaging because she wants me out. She doesn't want me
Right.
to get the shield. Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when we drove home in the trucks afterwards, I was with Kevin and I was with Mike. I don't know if you knew this, but Mike was on my team, and he was agreeing with me that she had sabotaged the whole thing. He was
Of
agreeing with me.
course.
He was even saying some things that oh, you're right. Yeah, she was doing that
Mhm.
too. But at the round table, was Mike sticking up for me? No, he wasn't saying a word, because he
Mhm.
all saw them. And that sent off bells in my head. I'm going, Mike's got to be a traitor. He's not sticking up for
Yeah.
me. He wants me gone. And that's that moment right there, Mel. I knew right away Mike was a traitor. And I like Mike. I liked Mike. He's a paisan, and I wanted him to go far in the game. So
Right.
anyhow, but
Uh,
yeah, if the sabotage, if I didn't theorize that, like if I didn't put all that together, if she wasn't the captain, or if I was on a different team,
mhm.
that beef that I had with May at the breakfast table would have ended right there.
Yeah.
And so I sort of dug my own grave in a way.
Isn't hindsight wild though? Like when you're
Oh,
in the moment, it's so different than when you can see the full picture with the bird's eye view and you look
uh,
back and then you're like,
I know.
God, if I had to just do this or that,
I know. You regret
could
things.
have
You
won.
regret things, yeah.
Big
After seeing it
time.
back.
So my next question is what would be your biggest regret from the show?
Of course, that feud with May,
Yeah.
because I know I could have gone further. Although
I
could I
should
have?
have said aside from voting me out. Sorry. What would be
Well, that's it. Well, that too, and that's a regret too. Since you left, Fierce was all over me because he thought you and I were
Mhm.
working together, and we had like a
Right.
little disagreement, a traitor
And
disagreement.
that's why you voted me out.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a couple things looking at Fierce and looking at May. I think if those two, I regret those two being in the game. How's that?
Mm. I'm with you. I'm with you. I
Why?
understand. I
Yeah,
understand.
get it? Why
Yeah.
couldn't they be chosen for season 2 of Traitors Canada? Why did that?
Oh, I think you might have just started an internet feud with Fierce, which is not one you want to start because
Oh no!
you
You do
will
not want to argue with.
lose. You will lose if you start any kind of feud with Fierce.
Well,
Period. Done.
Fierce was the first one I reached out to. Like you reached out
Yes.
to Kevin, I reached out to
Mhm.
Fierce right away to apologize, and I think I said a few things that I didn't mean to say.
Mhm.
Words come out in the heat of the moment,
Yeah.
and I didn't mean to say. So Fierce was the first house guest that I reached out to apologize, and I was so surprised to hear back from Fierce like right away,
Yeah.
because as you know, Fierce and I left on that same episode,
Right.
and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't
Oh,
believe it. And
right.
then I
So you you
yeah,
didn't know who went after you and you messaged Fierce and then Fierce is like, yeah, well, I'm gone too.
yes. And I go, Fierce,
Amazing.
how did you get your phone? Like, how did
Yeah.
you, because if anyone could have gotten their phone in the manner, it would have been
It would have been
Fierce.
Fierce. 100%. 100%.
So when I realized Fierce was gone too, it's like, oh, see, don't you feel terrible for thinking I was anyway, but
That's
you're right.
good.
Hindsight. Yeah, it's all
All
good.
right.
It's all good.
Well, that's good. If you were ever asked to do this show again, this particular show, the Traitors Canada, or some form of the Traitors, if they do an international or, would you ever say yes to do this show again?
In a heartbeat. In a
Right?
heartbeat. Wouldn't we all? I think we all would.
I think so too. I think so too.
especially
Like,
Mel, those of us who exited the game early, we want
mhm,
another shot. I want to redo for sure. Like you learn so much from those few days that you were there, And if they would come to us asking us if we want to be part of it again, let's do this. Yes.
Do you know? I just found this out today. After we left, they got bacon. Freaking bacon, Rick.
Bacon?
No, we didn't get bacon. They got bacon
Yeah.
and eggs. I'm pretty sure. I thought that's what Leroy said in the group chat. After we
have
left,
loved
they got
eggs.
bacon.
Yeah.
I
Well, that's the
wanted
thing.
a bit of cottage cheese. Like it was just croissants every morning. I was like, just give me something different.
Well, think about it, Mel. It does make sense. You're whittling out the numbers. You're getting smaller numbers. I'm not surprised if they had surf and turf in those last few
filet
episodes.
mignon then for
Yeah,
supper.
filet mignon. Bring out the good stuff now. You guys deserve it. Us,
We need a redo.
Here's a granola bar. Take that. Take a roll. No.
They throw the dinner roll at us.
Well, there's so many of us to feed, right?
There was a lot. There was 20 people is a large amount of contestants, right? After doing this show, how do you feel you would do on another reality TV show? So for example, Big Brother Canada, Survivor, Amazing Race Canada, something like that. Would you do anything like that? And how do you think you would do on those shows?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not going to do Big Brother. I was in the Big Brother house in LA for a day, for 24 hours. And
really? Was this is it aired somewhere?
Yeah, it was the media. It was the media day for Big Brother US.
Okay.
Now I'm talking about years ago when I was at the ET. And in the house was Kevin Fraser from ET US and a bunch of other media personalities, American ones. I was the only Canadian. But no, I could never do that show. So Big Brother is off. Big X.
I would love to see you on Big Brother Canada. You would spiral. I think you would spiral.
But I do want to be on Amazing Race one day. I remember watching the American version before the Canadian version started and trying to apply. I would go onto the website. We don't allow anyone except Americans. They changed that over the years, but Amazing Race Canada would be fantastic. I don't know if they still do The Mole or not. I like that show, The Mole. It's very similar to what we did.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think they just did season 2 actually, so they'll probably get ready for season 3.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But Big Brother, no way. No way.
No way on Big Brother. What about Survivor?
What about you? I could see you in that Big Brother house. Eating the slop.
Listen, that's what got me on this show was my obsession for Big Brother, because I just would keep, applying every year, apply. With no callback. I think actually last year was my first callback. I got one callback and then I got cut that round, so I didn't make it any further. But that was always my show for sure. Like
I see. So that's how CTV was introduced to you from the auditions, and that's how you got called to do Traitors. Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I was curious to see how people got to be part of this.
Yeah. There was like we still had to audition and everything, but yes.
Of course,
my love of Big Brother that got me exposed for the Traitors.
Well, you're great. You're great at the game. You're a great personality. You have a lot to add to things, and you have a lot of input in things. And I could see them right away saying, "We got to go with Mel B. She would be a great contestant in this game." So yeah, you're good. You're really good at this.
Well, thank you, Rick. I think you're good at this now too, that we've cleared the air between each other. So, okay, I do have another little comment. So this is straight from me. So a couple of those questions were actually from people on my Instagram. I said, listen, I'm going to interview Rick. What do you want to know about the show?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
This one is from me, because I just I absolutely loved watching Rick Sassy Pants is my nickname that I have for you. So because we saw you in your sassy pants a little bit. One of the quotes I do have written down is, May, I can't remember. Did you win your show? Oh. I want to know where this Rick has been my entire life, and when can we see more of him? Was it just for reality TV, or are you just this sassy all the time?
It's getting hot in this room right about now.
I should have warned you. I'm very hard-hitting journalist here.
Mel, here's the thing with me. If you're not attacking me, we're gonna be best friends forever.
Yeah.
If you start attacking me, like anybody, we got to stand up for ourselves. So when May started coming after me and didn't stop, that's the thing. She didn't stop coming at, like, you just saw what you saw on the episode, but she didn't stop coming after me. And you got to say a few things at some point that you regret. Now, my theory at that time was, one of the traitors has to be a reality star that lost their season. That's why I
Mhm.
was just reconfirming with May, because I think May had lost her season on MasterChef. So I was just confirming, did you win
Oh,
or did you lose? If she had said she had won, then I would have held back a bit more from her,
right.
assuming that she would have been a traitor. My theory was, okay, so a traitor has to be a reality star that lost their season. So that's where I was
Man,
going with that. That
you
that
were
that
meta
part of it was
thinking.
that part wasn't shown. Of course not, because the producers just want to
It's
put in that
so
part.
much better. It's so much better with Sassy Pants Rick. I was watching, I was like, what did he just say? Stop the car. Like that was it's such good TV. Such good TV. So as I was watching that, I was like, okay, I need Rick on another TV show and I need Sassy Rick to come back. That's why I mentioned Big Brother Canada. I was like, I would
Big,
love to
yeah.
see
Oh,
you
oh,
in that
oh.
house. If you had to nominate somebody like or got nominated, I would love that. Like not yes, I would. I
I
would.
don't
As a
know.
fan of these shows, I think that's just
Yeah,
great TV.
yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah, I
you know
had to
what I'm going to
ask.
say? I'm going to decline politely, and I'm going to say, Mel B, you go on that show in my place, okay? You
Dude,
could
if we
become a
could
sassy
find a
pants.
way. Oh,
You
I
could be
would.
sassy pants. Yeah.
I would be. I have no fear of going home. I'm like, I'm here for my moment. Give me my moment.
Give me my 15 minutes. Oh,
Let
I
me
know.
do the fun. Yes. Okay. All right. We'll move past the traders. We had such a blast, but I do want to get in. I don't want to take up all your time. You let
No,
me know
that's
if
okay.
you need to get going.
I
But
was going to say one last thing about the traders, though, and
yes,
this is a very special thing that each and every one of us took from that game. Listen, like we entered that as strangers, nobody knew each other. I'm pretty sure you agree with me. Like we're all really going to be lifelong friends. We're going to be in touch with each other. We're going to be in each other's lives because I really enjoyed my time with every one of you.
Mhm.
Um, the longer I was in there, I built better relationships with the people that lasted a little longer. But even Erica, even Nazilla, even Colin, like I am gonna remain friends with them
Yeah.
and reach out to them every once in a while and see how they're doing. If I'm in their neck of the woods, I'm gonna pop by and say hi and have a coffee. But it was just that unique experience that we all, 20 of us, and it you can't say this for the rest of Canada. Like
Yeah.
those 20 of us really understood what was going on, and I think we're all going to be lifelong friends. I'm just putting that out there. I just know we are.
Yeah. We're
It was a
trauma
special.
bonded.
Yeah, we're trying. Yeah, that's right. We're trying.
Yeah, we're trauma bonded.
Only we can understand what we actually
Mhm.
really went through
Yeah.
in those days of being at that manor. You're right. It's trauma bonding. Yeah, I
So
like that.
have you been talking to anybody from other seasons? Because that's another thing I noticed. It's almost like it's becoming this
Yeah,
community, this family. Because I've been
yes,
talking to a lot of people from the other
that's I
seasons, and
have.
it's like we've
I,
all been through this weird, unique, amazing experience, and it
experience.
it does
Yes, you're
bond
right.
you.
It's
Yeah.
so true. Camille has reached out from
Hmm.
Australia and we've been interacting. And you're right. Only if you've played the game, you know exactly what we went
Hmm.
through emotionally. So yeah, it is. It's pretty amazing that
Pretty
someone from
wild.
the other side of the world is keeping in contact with us just because we've experienced the same things. It's cool. It's very
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah. I feel very lucky, like so grateful. I had a gratitude journal the whole time I was
Yeah.
there.
Aw.
And
Yeah.
I would, instead of like strategizing, maybe I should have been strategizing more. When I would be in my room, I would just be writing the things that I was grateful for, which
Aw.
is so funny because another one of the things that got me booted was that like I think Crystal and Kevin both said like, but you're talking about tomorrow. You're not afraid of going home. And it's like that's just the way that I live my life though. Like even if I was
Yeah.
a faithful, I would have been the same way because I'm not going to stress over things I have no control over. I'm a type of person, I sit down every day and I just list out all the good things
Oh
about
yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
anything that's bad, I focus on what I can change. And if I
Yeah.
can't change something, I just don't focus on it because,
That's that's
you know,
that's the approach everyone should be leading in life. Like that's the thing.
yeah.
Positive, optimistic, in that manner. And you saw it. Like I think things were dissected just a little too much.
Hmm.
We're all people. We all have personalities, and it just because we say this doesn't mean we're a traitor. Like and
I
that's the
mean, in
thing I
my case,
learned.
yes, it was
Well,
true, but it would have been the same either way.
not in my eyes. Not in my eyes. But
I actually think if I was a faithful, I would have got sent home right around the same time for that reason. Because
yeah.
like my personality that I brought to the game, I was spiraling a little trying to lie. about being a traitor. I'm clearly not a great liar, but you know, like aside from that, it was still authentically me,
It was.
all
Yeah,
talkative
I saw that.
stories, everything.
I saw
Right.
that. No, I
So
saw that.
yeah. Yeah.
And that's the reason why I said that too. Like, because I saw you go through so many emotions, and I'm saying
Mhm.
it's just Mel. It's just Mel B's personality. She's gonna be laughing. She's gonna be outspoken. She's gonna get teary eyed. She's gonna
Yeah.
get down. Like, but that was just. I just thought after meeting you for a couple days, that's just you. That's who you
Yeah.
are. And I guess the others saw through that. I don't know.
Yeah. They were like, she's a traitor. I was like, yes, but I'm still like this.
I see the
Um,
good in everyone, Mel. I see the good
yes.
in everyone.
That's why we're besties, Rick.
Yeah. Yeah.
This Much Music tour. Okay, so I was going to ask, I was going to throw in a little slide at you about how you're not coming here. I was going to ask how people who aren't going to see it can see it, but let's talk about it. What are you doing? What is the Much Music tour?
The Much Music Tour has been heading across Canada since September. The doc had its galactic premiere at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, in the spring. And Sean Menard, the director, decided, you know what, it's great to be here at this American festival that people know about, a huge festival, but this has got to be seen in Canada. It's got to go across the country in Canada on the big screen, big sound, before it starts streaming on Crave. So he put together this tour. And
Wow.
and as soon as he released the dates, yes, St. John's, Newfoundland wasn't on that list of dates. It's like, what?
Yet. Dot dot dot.
So yes, exactly. But
Mhm.
apparently he was fighting hard to get there. It just didn't work out with the schedule. Now we made it to Halifax. We made it to St. John. We were close to the Rock, but not on the Rock.
Yeah.
So there's been some talk over the last few dates, and I think now he's trying to get out to St. John's, Newfoundland, to screen, because you know as well as I do, it would be a huge success in St. John's.
Mhm.
Anyway, it
Absolutely.
just tells the story of Much Music, the beginning, the idea, where it came from, all the way up until, that downward spiral of it not being the much that we knew from back in the
Mhm.
day. But it's a beautiful story. It's 2 hours, and a lot of the VJs are involved, and we just lend our voices for narration. All the footage that you'll see is archival footage that's been digitized, and he started at 4,000 clips, narrowed it down to like 200 clips that you'll see in the
Wow.
movie. But I really hope we come out to St. John's to get that whole big screen, big sound experience. If,
Yeah.
if we don't, I'd feel terrible about it. But at least everyone will get to see it on Crave, if you have Crave.
Well, that's the thing that I'm waiting for, even like it, because if it doesn't come here, I'm like watching this tour,
Yeah,
watching you on social media go across Canada, and I'm like,
be
I
fun.
need to see this. Like, it looks like such a good documentary, and like,
Yeah.
for people, I guess, millennial, Gen X,
And
and
next,
above, and maybe
yeah,
even, who knows? But like, we grew up with this, right? This was like
yeah,
our
yeah,
music. Like, I was
yes.
talking to an American podcaster after I was eliminated from the show, and he was saying, Rick seems to be pretty popular in Canada. And I said, he's our Carson Daly. Like, you have to
Oh,
understand, like, TRL and MTV had
yeah,
Carson Daly. Much
yeah.
Music was our MTV, and Rick was our Carson. So that's how I
Oh,
I
Mel.
described it to him, because I was like, and even break down to Carson interviewing the boy bands and these pop groups. Rick did the same thing, and it was just
Oh,
it
you're
was just
so
so fun.
sweet.
So
Oh,
I really want to
Mel.
watch that for sure.
Yeah, I hope you like it. Like, we've been getting a lot of positive feedback. Like, after every screening, we do a Q&A, like an I on stage with the director, and then after that, we do like a little meet and greet, because people want to ask us
People would
questions.
love
Like,
that.
we're all fans of music, and we're all music lovers, and including me, and that's why I first started at Much. But I was just like any of the Much Music viewers back in the day. I watched it religiously. So to spend some time with those good folks across Canada, they'll bring up situations and memories that I've totally forgotten about.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, right, that did happen. I'll say thank you so much for sharing that with me, because I totally forgot, because so much happened at Much all the
Yeah.
time. We'd have bands coming in to perform and on a daily basis, and it was just it was a magical, special time for us Canadians. And Sean Menard, the director, has captured all of that, and it's a beautiful trip down memory lane. It really is.
That's a
299.
dream job.
Yeah, yeah, it
That's
was. It
it's a
was.
dream job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
know. And well,
So how
yeah. Go
No,
ahead.
go ahead.
I was gonna say this, the young generation's still doing it. Like they're doing it on TikTok, and they're doing
Right.
it the way the young generation. It's popular, of course, social media,
Mhm.
TikTok. So they have VJs, and I've met a couple of them. They're just doing what I did all those years ago. They're passionate about music. They're passionate about pop culture, and they're just out there on TikTok doing their thing with the Much Music microphone. So it's
Oh,
good
I
to see that.
love it.
It's good to see
That
that.
is,
Yeah,
it carries on, it lives on.
it does.
Yeah.
It
So
does. Not
how
the
did
same
you,
way, but it does carry on. Yeah.
but yeah, it's not that in,
Yeah.
that intimate, like that
Yes. Yeah.
that in studio feeling, right?
Yes.
But how did you get started with Much Music in the first place? Like, you're Rick the Temp. What does that mean? Why did you have that nickname? How did you get started on Much Music? Like, how did you get the job?
Mel, first of all, I love your accent. Okay. It's the coolest accent out there. You and Kuzi, I loved you, both your accents. I could have talked to you guys all day
Amazing.
long. Um,
Sure,
it was
sure.
a
You just needed me
like,
out.
no. Listen,
Never
this is
forget.
way before your time because you're so much younger than I am. Am I winning some brownie points now?
You're getting there. You're getting there.
Get there. Okay. So I entered a contest back in 1994, and they had this annual contest to come and work at Much Music for the summer months. This
Mhm.
contest started in 1993. I entered in 94, but they liked my entry. They liked what I did. I won the contest. I got my foot in the door. I remember my first day was July 1st, 1994.
Wow.
And I knew after stepping foot into that place and learning about it and being there that I didn't want it to come to an end. I would have done anything it took just to stay there, because with that contest that I won, it was only a 2-month contest, a job, and then they sent you back home to where you came
Mhm.
from. But I didn't want to go home, so I volunteered, I interned, I would have done anything possible to get that foot planted a little firmly on that floor in the environment at Much Music, and it just so happened that they needed someone to do this, they needed someone to do that, and I would take all those jobs that nobody really wanted to do, and I'd say I'll do it free of charge. I'll volunteer because I just wanted to be there. So that contest, winning that contest, it changed my whole path in life. And I was going to study to become a teacher like all my older siblings are. But winning that contest at this place that I would watch religiously as a kid, we all did as kids, Much Music.
Yeah.
It was our go-to. It was our staple on our TV sets. But I just ran with the opportunity, and I did whatever it took to get on air. I would after a year or so, I would start making my demo tapes, submit them to the boss over there, and it finally worked out.
I love
And they
that.
put
The
me
perseverance. Like that
perseverance.
is such a good example for what I think everybody should do to pursue whatever path they're passionate about. Because like
Yeah,
that's what got me on the Traitors, honestly. Like I was like,
yeah,
I want to be on
persistent.
reality TV.
Yeah,
So I just
yeah,
started applying for literally wherever would take my application. Just send in a tape,
yes,
send in a tape. And I that wasn't until I decided I wanted to be on Big Brother. So when they didn't take me the first couple of times, I started applying to random shows that
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't watch, just so that I could practice my audition tape so that the next round I would be better. Right. And
Amazing.
like perseverance will get you what you want. It's just going to get you 1,000 no's first sometimes. But like, even like you volunteering for free, like if it's something that you're
Yeah,
passionate about, you're going to
yeah.
want to do the work. Right.
Well, and they saw your passion, not just your perseverance in wanting to be there and your dedication, but they saw that you were passionate about doing this. And those are the kind of traits that these producers want. They want someone that's dedicated, committed, will do anything, are passionate about it, all about it. So
Mhm.
good for you. And our stories are quite similar. Yes, because I did enter the contest when it first began in 93, and
Mhm.
I didn't win either, but
Mhm.
we don't give up. You don't give up in life.
Yeah, you
If
can't give
you
up.
really want something, you stick after it and you go after those dreams of yours, because well, what are you going to do? You're just going to settle with something else over here? No, you want to go after what you're going to love doing for the
Yeah.
rest of your life.
Well,
And
like
good for you.
you have one life, that we know of. We have this one life. It doesn't make sense to me to be unhappy. If you can
Oh,
change something, change it.
and yeah,
But so many
it's
people are
simple.
afraid of the
Simple.
unknown. that they
Yeah.
don't step outside that comfort zone, because we've been
Yeah.
very much accustomed and like really raised to live in a comfort zone because it's safe. But safety is not going to get you what you want. Sometimes you've got to take those risks, you know,
Oh
like
yeah. Oh yeah.
drive people at Much Music crazy, take my application, like just put me somewhere, put me on your TV, right? So
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that. I'm learning
No,
a
you
lot about
you
you
know what?
today,
I
Rick.
just learned from you. I just learned from you too that we're very similar in that. You got to go after what you want in life,
Yeah.
like you said. And my dad says all the time, we only have one life to live and we only go around this ride once, but if you do it the right way, the way you
Mm-hmm.
want to do it, once is enough. You know, he
100%.
always tells me that.
Yeah.
So I see that approach in you as well. So yeah, you got to be that way. You got to go after what you want in life. It's going to happen. It might take some
Absolutely.
time, but you got to be a little patient with your perseverance, but it'll happen. It'll happen.
Yeah. You just it's all about belief too. Like I
That's it.
am a firm believer in the law of attraction. So I do believe that, you know, the energy that you put out is the energy that you're going to get. And if you really believe
Definitely.
something is going to happen, it's
Yeah.
going to happen. Now, whether you manifest it or it was going to happen and you knew or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
all of that
Yeah.
is to be
I believe it.
seen. But I definitely believe that like what you put out and what you truly want, you get. And a lot of people don't realize that the things that they don't want it up here. They're saying, I don't want debt. I don't want this, but they're constantly talking about their debt or thinking about their debt or thinking about sorrow and thinking about how sad they are. When you're focused on that, you get more of it. But when
Oh,
you focus on, you know, things you're grateful for and your abundance, and I'm so abundant, I don't have much money in the bank account, but look at my beautiful life. Look at my, you know what I
oh,
mean? When you tune into
yeah.
that, it changes your life completely. And then the things that you do want start coming to you a little bit,
You
right?
got to be
So
you should be a motivational speaker. You're so good.
dude, I should. You've got
Yes.
connections. We'll talk after
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't need my connection. Good. You
Come
got it
on,
all.
Rick. Come
Yeah. Yeah.
on, set me up here. Actually, I did want to mention, and a little slide again. I'm just so mean to you. You've got an upcoming podcast that I didn't get picked to be a co-host with you,
Well,
but I'm okay because it shoved me into producing
no.
this one now and getting
Yeah.
back to the
See,
thing that I love.
there you
So
go.
there's always a
What
good side, right?
one door closes, another one opens, and I'm no. Listen, you know how long a process
Yes.
developing a podcast can be. It's a long, drawn out process. And I'm not solely focused on that project right now in my life. There's
Mhm.
other things going on, and I wish I could dedicate it. Like I'm going to be able to dedicate it 100% of my time to it. But yes,
Mhm.
I'm working on a podcast.
Yes, tell us
I,
about that.
I've always been asked about doing a podcast, and there's so many podcasts out there. Okay, what's going to make my podcast different? Well, it's going to be you. Just like
Yeah.
you in your podcast. You're different than me. We're different than Joe Rogan. We're different
Mhm.
than Bobby Althoff. Everyone's different. Everyone's got their own views and perceptions and outlooks on life. So I'm working with a team in Montreal, and they've been at me for 2 years, let's just say,
Mhm.
about doing something like this. And I think now was the right time. There's a lot going on, a lot to talk about.
Mhm.
And I said, okay, with a little hesitation in my voice, okay, let's do it.
Sure.
I've never been down this road before, a podcast. You're more experienced than I am, but I do, like you, like chatting with people. I like bringing out the best in somebody. I like entertaining people. And I think those all go hand in hand with podcasts. Like depending on what approach we're taking for the podcast, whether it's interviews with big name people or just breaking something down, like a topic down with a friend.
Mhm.
It all there's room for all of that out there, and it's the way you approach it, and it's the content you create. So I thought, okay, let's give this a shot. We haven't done one podcast yet, but we're still in those stages of developing it.
Mhm.
I'm actually still trying to find my fourth. My fifth. We've found four of the five finalists. So
Mhm.
Mel,
Mm. Ahem.
there's still room for one more finalist.
My head is still in the ring. Let's
Yeah,
just
it is.
say that. So,
It's still in the ring. It's a tough. I would be terrible as a judge on America's Got Talent or one of those shows. I can't pick. I can't. I want to give the job to everybody. I want everyone
yeah.
to have a good time with it. So maybe it will be that. Maybe it will be a rotating chair.
Mhm.
Maybe it will be you one week. Maybe it will be that person another week. And I like that. I like the fresh the freshness about that. I get your perspective. I get that person's perspective. So we're
Mhm.
still trying to figure it out. We are, but you don't need to be on my podcast. You've had a very successful podcast going right here.
Well, I want to be now, Rick. Come on. I never say no, right? I'm a yes
Never
man.
say never say never. Okay, Bond.
All
Yeah.
right. We'll roll past that. She's not quite ready to be debuted yet, but you are working on a podcast.
Yes,
I
I
love
am.
that. I do love
Everything's
that.
temporary. Rick
Yep.
Campanelli. Yes, because
Well,
everything is temporary. Everything
everything
is.
is temper. Well, it's such a good title. It's
Oh,
it's it's
thank you.
it's a perfect play on words, but it's
It,
so good
it
for life
well, it's
and
for life.
stages. Yeah.
And not getting down when one thing does come to an end. Like we all go through those times, all of us.
Hmm.
I've lost a couple of jobs along the way, and you think life is over, but life's not over. Life's just
Hmm.
beginning. What Because when that one door is shutting on you, well, there's so many other doors over there and windows, that are opening up
Yeah.
for you. So that'll come
So
into play too when the podcast starts. We'll be talking about all that stuff. So yeah.
so you and I talked a little bit in the manner about your faith. And do you feel like your outlook on, say doors closing and the window opening or the other door opening, do you think that a lot of that comes from your faith? Is it just how you were raised? Is it just your perspective of what you've seen in life? Like,
Yeah, I really think that that comes into play. My faith. I'm a practicing Catholic. I go to church every Sunday. I pray. I've got strong morals and values, and I apply those in my day to day living. And I do think God has a lot to do with what's going on. I do believe in karma. I do
mhm,
believe in that word karma as well. And I do believe in that whole realm of karma. I try, like you, I try to put a lot of good out there. I'm
right.
positive. I'm always, you got to be that way in life. Even if it's for just the fact that it's going to get you through life. Well, there's more
Mhm.
than that. You're putting good things out there in the world. Good things will come back to you.
Yes.
So it has it's a combination of all the stuff, but I do think my faith, um I'm 53 years old now. I do think my faith in God and the Catholic Church has a lot to do with my little successes here and there. And we all have successes in life. Some are on this level, some are on that level, but we all go through successes, and that's what keeps us going. But like you, I'm just a positive person. I really
Yeah,
am. I'm a positive. I'd rather be positive than the pessimist and the negative person. There's no
absolutely.
time in my approach, and there's no time in my life for that. You got to keep things positive. You got to keep searching for the good, and because the
There's
good
no
is always
fun. There's no fun in the
there's no
negative,
fun in
like
being.
if you're always thinking poor me and poor this and throwing pity parties, I call them, whatever, when somebody's,
Yeah.
oh, I can't do this and this happened to me. And okay, you got your little pity party over with.
And
There's no fun there. Let's bring it up.
it is tough. It is tough for some people though to have the
Yeah.
outlook, this positive outlook, and I get it because they've been through so many
Hmm.
obstacles and hardships in life. It's tough. Don't get me wrong. Like not, but it just to me, it just comes naturally from my
Yeah.
upbringing. Being positive, like that's just comes so easily to me, and that's the lane I want to be in for the rest of my life.
Hmm. And I do think like there are some people like for me, I'm somebody who does come naturally as well, but there are a lot of people too who practice, who you have to do like a daily practice. Like that's why
Yeah,
these gratitude journals exist. It's
yeah.
why these motivational things
Life
exist. It's
coaches.
because yeah, it's because it is hard to do to just wake up and look on the bright side. Like that's not people's natural
It's
instincts for
not.
the most part. Me and you are the
And
odd ones there, like that's not a
we're the
natural
rare.
instinct.
But saying that,
Yeah.
Mel, it doesn't mean we don't get depressed at times or sad at
Yeah.
times. We go through all the emotions, right? We just know
Hmm.
how to deal. We have the tools to deal with those states of mind and those darker days. I have the tools now. Listen, I've been through a divorce. I've been through some really, my mom passed 8 years ago, but I learned the tools along the way to get through those dark days. We all
Hmm.
go through them though, even us positive ones.
Yeah. Oh,
There are dark days
absolutely.
for everyone's. So
And life, so one of the biggest things that I try to live by is that like you can't control what happens to you. There are things that are going to happen to you that are going to be tragedies and heartaches
yeah,
and just
yeah,
really shitty things. you can't control what happens. The only thing we can control is how we react to those
Yeah,
situations, right? And I think that's what
right.
will help get you through is knowing, okay, well, how can I make myself feel better? How can I move forward, you know?
I love that line. I love what you
Mhm.
just said there. It reminds me of a line I think Sylvester Stallone said. We're all going to get knocked down in our lives.
Mhm.
It's how you get back up from those knockdowns and react and respond and move on from being
Yeah.
knocked down. So I think that was Sly Stallone. I don't
That's
know.
what is it? That's how winning is done.
Yeah,
That's a big, yeah, I love that. That's a
that's
big speech.
yes.
It is so good. Okay,
Yeah.
I won't keep you much longer. I do have a couple more questions. So,
It's okay. Yeah, it's all good. I don't even know what
I
time it is. I'm not even following a clock.
we're a little over the hour mark, so
Oh,
I won't push
that's
it. I
okay.
know it
My
feels natural,
thing is
right?
at my next thing is at 11:30. I'm good. I've got to drive 20 minutes, but we're good. We're good.
Okay, all right. Couple of questions. So I was going to ask if you are musical yourself. So growing up through much music and working there for so long, do you sing? Do you write? Do you play? Like, what's your music
I
background?
I love drumming. I could drum on anything, like over here on this, over there on that. I have drums over here that belong to my boys. I had drums growing up. So I play, but not like Dave Grohl. Not good at
What?
all. I'm the complete opposite of Dave Grohl on the drums. But
Have
I
you
did
met Dave Grohl? Sorry, I
I
interrupted my
have.
question with a question.
He's
Okay,
the
we can,
nicest guy in the music business that you'll meet. Dave
I believe
Grohl,
it.
he gets it. He's so funny and
Mhm.
witty and entertaining. But then he's got these mad skills at every
Yeah.
instrument because he put the whole first Foo Fighters album together himself.
Wild.
Um, Dave Grohl's a great guy.
Yeah.
So what was I? Oh, and so I learned guitar when I was like 13 or 14 because I'm a big music guy. I would listen to music all the time. But then, okay, you know what? I want to start playing. So
Hmm.
I took guitar lessons for maybe a year, but I was finding I've got small hands and I couldn't get
Yeah.
my
Me
fingers
too.
around the neck of the guitar. So that came to an end. I took up drumming. Listen, let's just say to make a long story short, I'm not well versed in any instrument, but I'm familiar with instruments. But I tried singing too in high school in a band, and then the band says during rehearsal, "Let's do I Will Follow You Too" from one of their early albums. So I tried hitting those Bono high notes, and I just couldn't do it. And I think one of the guys' fathers walked down at the same time when I couldn't
Oh
hit those
no.
high notes, and he said, "No, this guy, he's just not going to cut it. He's not going to cut it. He's out. Let's bring the next person in." So
They didn't know what they were doing.
I had maybe a 48 hours of fame being the lead singer of my high school band, but it didn't last long. But yeah,
Okay, well, get back on that. Start doing some singing videos on TikTok, and
yeah,
you'll get a
I
new
know.
band. You'll go super famous at 53 years old and start a world tour. And I love it. I love it.
That's
Okay,
an idea. Why not? Yeah,
I right. Listen,
yeah,
why not? The
why
possibilities are
not?
endless,
No
right?
regrets. No regrets.
These are a couple of questions from social media about you. I'll start off with a question from my family member first. I've already gotten mad at her because she's not supposed to be on the Kevin fan club train, but she wants to
Oh,
know if you think Kevin is hot because she keeps telling me that Kevin is hot. And I keep saying, can you please stop saying that? We don't like Kevin.
um,
So she said, ask
I ran
Rick.
into I ran into Kevin last week, 2 weeks in Calgary. I
Mhm.
saw Kevin. I saw Gerp and I saw Gerline was there as well. So let's just first of all get to Gerp's physique. Like he's been
Mhm.
entering like Mr. Universe
He
competitions and
won. He won
yes,
his competition. He just did a
who,
bodybuilding competition.
who knew that was all under those turtlenecks he was wearing? I sort of had an
Dude.
idea. The guy's built like Michelangelo sculptures. Um, but Kevin's getting there too. Actually, he's been putting a lot more time in the gym. Do I
Mhm.
think he's hot though? Is the question.
That's the question.
Yeah, let's say yes. I like Kevin's approach. He's very intellectual. He thinks things through.
Mhm.
He's a friend. Like I could see anyone getting along with Kevin. He's got a great personality. He likes to have fun. In those traits, if those traits all equal being hot, well
Mhm.
then I agree with your sister.
Well,
That's
actually, I do call her sis. But she's a family member. I told Kevin she was my
oh,
aunt.
she's
She's
telling
my
me.
cousin, but she's like
Oh,
the cousin that you called your aunt when you were growing. Anyway, so sis, Rick agrees. Now you can leave me alone. We're back to not liking Kevin. Next question. Who was your favorite musician to interview during your Much days?
Oh wow. Well, I'm a big Red Hot Chili Pepper fan. I love the Peppers, Chili Peppers. I just love that band. I know they were a little too much back in the day in the
Mhm.
80s. That they, you've heard stories of them
Wildness.
being a little misogynistic, and I'm not down with that crap. But
Yeah.
they gave people some tough times along the way. When it comes down to the music, I love their music, the Chili Peppers, and over time, I think those guys have matured. I've interviewed them several times, and I have a bond with Anthony and the guys. So I like those guys. They'd be up there, maybe top five. But then Dave Grohl, who we talked about earlier, he's the nicest guy. Like these guys will remember you when you come back in a room to interview them, and that's
That's
special.
nice.
That's special.
Yeah.
They remember certain things. It's like because they talk to people all the time, not as much anymore, but back in the day they were doing those interviews like nonstop. I enjoyed talking to the boy bands. I really did because we had a lot of fun. That's not my
Yeah.
go-to genre of music.
Hmm.
Um, but I respect those guys and the Britneys and the Christinas because they were making a lot of people happy in the world. They were putting a lot of smiles on faces, and that's cool. I love that. When they
Well, they
can,
would close down streets, right?
oh, they
In
would.
Toronto. Yeah.
They would.
Yeah.
They would close down streets. And if you're making someone happy in life, because that person might be going through something really dark, but
Hmm.
this boy band or that pop act is putting a smile on this person's face. That goes a long way in my mind, in my heart. So I really respected all of them, and we always had some great times with those people that I just mentioned. But I do have a long list, and I'll leave it with those for now, though.
I like that. I like that's
Yeah.
a good answer. You must have like, I mean, the scroll is endless, right? Like
Wow.
you could go back, you could be answering that for a day and a half, right?
You meet a
Um,
lot of good people along the way. You meet a lot of good
yeah.
people.
So it kind of leads into the next question, which was who was your favorite performance to watch back during like the intimate, Melissa, get it together. Intimate and interactive shows that Much Music used to do. Who was your favorite performance to watch?
Yeah, well, I remember I wasn't given the assignment to do the Foo Fighters I, but I was sure as heck going to be there to watch
Yeah.
it. I was back, on the upper floor there where my boss's desk was. So I watched that one, and that was just like I had seen Nirvana for the In Utero concert in Buffalo in '94, just before Kurt passed, and what an honor it was to see a band that I as a teenager I idolized Nirvana and Pearl Jam and all these grunge bands that were coming out of Seattle. So to see Dave in his element with the Foo Fighters doing it, like that was probably the one of the top three performances for me to watch live at Much Music. Um, what else would be? I think No Doubt would be up there. I was a big No Doubt
Oh
guy back.
yeah.
Like No Doubt did a lot for me as a teenager, and there was something about their music that just I would just you'd be feeling down or whatever. You put No Doubt, you put that Gwen's voice on, and it's like just
They're
I got
still
no worries
good.
in the world, man.
Yeah, you
So No Doubt
even
would be up
now.
there. And if I could think of one more performance, we used to bring Destiny's Child in a lot, like
Hmm.
before Beyonce went out on her own to do her own thing,
When
and
there
I
was
really got
four
a
or three.
three when
Okay.
there was three. Yeah, Michelle, Beyonce, and Kelly
Yep.
Rowland used to come in a lot, and they were really sweet people, really sweet
Mhm.
people. Now Beyonce is like the biggest star in the world, married to one of the other biggest stars in the world,
Yeah.
Jay-Z. But you get them at that level where they're still green in a way. They're still trying to learn the way, learn the ropes of the whole industry. And Destiny's Child and Beyonce we used to talk to quite a bit. And when they performed for their Live at Much or whatever it was all eyes on them. And Black Eyed Peas too. Black Eyed Peas would put on a killer performance at Much every time they came in. Prince, of course, I'm forgetting Prince. I didn't get that assignment for Prince, but I was there in the environment. Bill
You
Welichka got
have
that
to be
assignment.
there. You
Prince,
have to be
you
there
had
for
to be
Prince.
there.
You can't miss that.
Have you ever seen Prince in concert?
Mm-mm.
Prince was one of these special artists. He was so into his world of music, and he was so passionate. Prince would call people up on stage to dance with him during
Wow.
certain songs. And I remember at every one of his shows that I saw, and I would see him, even if no one wanted to go, I would go see him by myself. I saw him in the smallest of venues. I saw him at the ACC, which is Scotiabank. But he called, I was with Nickelback actually, and we were right in the front. And Nickelback and some of the people from ET had this front table, and Prince is right there. And Prince called us all up on stage. Now we didn't. I guess we were a little bit too into the juice at the time, and we didn't want to
Right.
embarrass ourselves.
Mm.
But Prince would do that. Prince would
Sad.
call
Oh, I
people
love
up.
that.
He would dance. You would dance with him, and he just put on the best shows. So when he came into much to do his performance, that would, let's say, that rounds out the top 5 for me. Prince.
Honestly, like I feel like I could just that
Yeah.
is, and that's just top
Drop the
5,
mic.
right? Like
Yeah.
the
Live.
list.
Yeah.
All right.
Right there.
We're gonna have dinner when you
We'll
come to town.
talk more. We'll talk more.
Yeah. My last question, actually, speaking of dinner, I did promise somebody I would ask this question. Last week, how come you were a no-show at dinner for some of the faithful? Now, I don't mind because I'm mad at all the faithful, but one of the faithful
Well,
messages said, "What happened to Rick?" I said,
here's
"I'll
the
ask
thing
him
about
on the
that.
show."
That was the homecoming show, and
Mhm.
I had a lot of buddies and family members that wanted to do things before the show. And yeah, I told Dominic and Mel A and Trevon and Mozilla, listen, I'm gonna try to make it. I'm gonna try to make it. If I don't see you before for dinner, I'm gonna see you during or after the screening. So I knew I was gonna see them at the screening. That was a big day. That was
Oh,
a
I
big day
believe
for
it.
us. You know, I'm from the Hammer, born and raised. That was a homecoming show, not just for me, but for the director. He's from Hamilton as well.
Mhm.
So it was quite the busy day. And then after, I didn't really do much. I went out to celebrate, but we had to get up really early because we were making the drive down to Windsor. We just came back from Windsor last night. So yeah, I missed out on that dinner. But the good thing is that some of the faithful got together, which was it's really beautiful to see those photos when any of the faithful or traitors get together, and we see the pictures on social or on that feed that we're a part of, that the WhatsApp chain. I love
Mhm.
seeing that because
I do too.
that just solidifies what I said earlier. We're all in this together now. We're all going to be friends. We have that trauma bond, which you called it,
Trauma
and
bond.
yeah, I love it. I love it. I feel bad, and I apologize to all of them for not making it there, but there was good reason,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think.
Listen, they're good. You know how, like, I
They're
had to
good.
ask the question. I said, I'll ask
Yeah.
today. We'll find out. We'll get to the bottom of this together. Investigative
No,
journalists. So
nothing's ever personal. No hard feelings. We're all good. We're all, we all love each other. We're all good. It's yeah, they're fine. I think everyone's gonna be okay.
all right. So last up, what is next for Rick the Temp Campanelli? I can't not call you Rick the Temp. It's
Rick the
just, it's
Temp.
like the starstruck thing, right? It's like, it's got to be Rick the Temp. That's it. But what is
I'm gonna bring
next for
that
you in the
handle. I'm
future?
gonna bring it to my grave. It's on my gravestone. It's here lies Rick the Temp.
A little much music symbol.
No, well, we're gonna finish the tour in early December. There's been another
Mhm.
show added to Toronto, which was very cool because that was a big show. We're gonna do one more show in early December. So the tour goes on. We're in Edmonton tomorrow, Vancouver, Victoria, Regina, Winnipeg. One more stop in Toronto. Hopefully St. John's, with fingers crossed, or they're able to get that together. But then I'm just looking forward to the Christmas break. I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to Christmas and December itself, just to relax, take a step back, just chill, decompress, and just hang with family and friends. I've got my in-laws coming up from Florida. My sister-in-law is coming in from Oregon, and my wife's side of the family will all be here for
Nice.
early Christmas. So that's gonna be nice. So it's gonna be family time, and then in January, hopefully we can get this podcast up and running.
Well, I'll wait
There's
for your
some
call on that one. That's great.
Yeah. All right. There's other things that I'm working on too that I wish I could tell you, but
Mm.
maybe something else for all the public to see. But I can't say anything right now. I'm sure you have a lot on the go too, right?
I'm busy. I'm
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
selling a lot of
Good.
houses. Actually,
Are you?
yeah, I am
Has
one.
your stock in your world gone up
It
for
feels
being a
a
real?
bit. It feels
Yeah.
a bit, but I think
Yeah.
one of the podcasters said, since you were a trader, has that affected your work now? Do people not trust you? And it's actually the opposite because I was such a terrible trader. People trust me more. I've
They
got
see
more
through all the
business.
bullshit. They don't see any bullshit. Yeah,
They don't
right,
see
right.
bullshit. They're like, oh, okay, she's not lying. Our house really isn't worth what we think it is. We should listen to her when she tells us how to price it. But yeah, no,
Good
so
point.
it's gotten busier
Good,
in that
good,
sense. And
good,
and
good,
yeah,
good.
just with this podcast, I don't have anything in the works that's for everybody to see soon, but
Yeah,
I don't know,
you
maybe I'll
never
try
know.
and
Something might come this afternoon, or something might come tomorrow that I can't wait to hear about from you, because I'm going to
I'll
keep in
text
touch
you.
with you. But I do suggest on your signs that you put on the lawns, this
As
house
seen on.
being sold by Mel B, as seen on the Traitors, and maybe have a little you in the cloak or something.
I should change my headshot because I mean I'm due. Like every realtor has a really old headshot. Mine's like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
So like I should change my headshot to just me with the cloak.
you have to. You have to.
I
You gotta
may.
run.
We'll see.
You gotta run with it. You
We're
gotta
in
run with it.
contract right now. I'm not allowed to do that just yet, but we'll
Right.
see. Maybe down the road I could do something like that. I'll have to ask the people that be, but
The powers that be.
the powers that
Yeah.
be. It has been so great talking to you again. I feel like we just caught up since August. This was
I'm glad we
fabulous.
did. I'm glad we did, and I'm glad we put everything out there. All the hatchets are buried. It's water under the bridge.
Mhm.
Sometimes we just say things in life to get a reaction, to get a response. And I think when I was on with Puya and Scally, I was just saying stuff that, you try to be entertaining. You try to get those sound bites. I
You
didn't
gave
mean
me
to.
good contact for or good
Yeah, good.
content for today. So it's no trouble. We're not
No hard
mad at each
feelings.
other.
No hard
Where can
feelings.
people find you? Where can people find you if they want to follow along?
Instagram Rick_Campanelli. Email address, I don't know, campanelli rick1@gmail.com.
You got it, folks. You got it. There's
I
his
don't
email.
engage as much with Facebook, and I should. My wife always tells me I should get out and get on there and respond to people. It's
Mhm.
just I just feel like I'm so overwhelmed with that
So
one
much.
social media that platform. Instagram it takes up a lot of time, which is a good thing. But I'll get over this to Twitter one of these days, and Facebook and TikTok and Threads and
Well,
all
we got to get you
all.
singing on TikTok, right? So look out for that. That's coming. That's coming. All right,
How about
Rick,
I just
thank
how
you.
about I just put all the sassy moments on TikTok? Just
Dude,
put
you
Rick
would go
sassy.
viral.
Would I-
You would go viral instantly. Like I think I just got like 1,000 followers or something. I do not have very many followers, but like you will get
Amazing.
like 20,000 day one and then 100,000 day two. Like, come on,
Okay, something
do
to
it.
consider. Something to consider.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All
All
right,
right.
Mel.
Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for being here. This has been a episode of the Best on the Rock podcast, the very first episode of the Best on the Rock podcast. My God, I need to go drink some water because I can't speak. Thank you guys for listening. I should have said it at the beginning, but if you're listening to this and you like what you hear, you want to hear more, like, comment, subscribe, send it to your friends, give me a review, tag me on all social medias, let me know what you think of the show, and tune in next week. Bye.
Bye, Mel.